Welcome, 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 everybody. It's your good friend Pozzible here, and I'm here with Joe.
How's it going?
And today we're going to be discussing something very near and dear to both our hearts, Star Wars Episodes 7, 8, and 9. As you know, after Disney has acquired the rights to Star Wars, there's new talk and there's new directors all about what's going to happen next. Well, that question has actually already been answered in books. Okay, thanks to Timothy Zahn. He wrote the saga Heirs to the Empire. Now, this is the act, in my opinion, and I think Joe agrees, right? That this is Episode 7.
Yeah, I think in a lot of Star Wars fans' minds, this is the Episode 7. Even though there were books that came before it, but after Jedi, this is the big one.
Right, but those were more like 6.5. Obviously, one of them was called the Truce at... What was it called?
Truce at Bakura.
Yeah, Truce at Bakura, where basically that's the one where Han actually proposes to Leia, and there's some... There's something else where this prince tries to marry Princess Leia.
No, I think that was you're thinking of Shadows of the Empire.
Okay.
That Prince Zizor had pheromones, and he was able to get to Leia. Truce at Bakura was basically just them trying to put the Empire to rest, and
right.
that takes place completely. It was like 8 days after.
Right, exactly. And now, of course, the ultimate question that, of course, we talk about when it comes to the episode 7, 8, and 9 is, do you think Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, and Harrison Ford can come back? Harrison Ford has already expressed interest in returning. What do you think of the others?
I really don't know. I don't know if they're going to be in good enough shape to come back and reprise their role, and that's one of the things that does concern me about these new movies.
Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, are you really interested in seeing somebody else as Han Solo?
I don't know if anybody can really capture him like Harrison Ford did. He pretty much made the mold on that character.
So when it comes to the Star Wars Heirs to the Empire, basically, the Truce at Bakura was really a separation. I mean, basically, it was a truce saying, we're not going to kill each other anymore. Empire, you get this section of space. Rebellion/Republic, you get this section of space. Type of thing. Would you agree? Did you read that book? I haven't. To be honest, I did not read the book.
I actually own the book. Yes, I've read it. It's actually a very good book.
Now, of course, because the Empire is still around. I mean, the Empire didn't go away in Heir to the Empire.
Yeah, they're still out in the galaxy, although I want to say they're referred to as the Remnant at this point.
Really? Okay.
I think so. Because the Rebellion is now called the New Republic, except for the main guy in the Empire. Mm-hmm. He still refers to him as the Rebellion.
Oh, of course. Now, and of course, who is the main guy in Heir to the Empire?
The main bad guy, the main leader of the Empire, is the last of the Grand Admirals, Grand Admiral Thrawn. He's I want to say he's a blue-skinned, red-eyed. I'm trying to think. His species is known as a Chiss, and he is one of, I believe, the only non-human that was able to make the rank. Grand Admiral's as high as you can go in the Imperial Naval. He was the only non-human to achieve that role.
The Empire was very discriminatory against aliens. He liked humans to be in that role.
Well, then again, I think most of the aliens did kind of let Palpatine down, judging from what we already saw in the movie, so I can kind of see his point.
Right, exactly. Okay. Now, who's the guy with the things firing out of his hands there?
I'm not 100% sure how to pronounce his name. I've always pronounced it, it's Joris, and I want to say it's Kaboeth.
Okay.
But he is... I don't want to give away too much about this guy because there's a really big plot twist,
right?
As far as the book goes,
right. And these books are on sale right now. If you haven't read them, now they're definitely worthy. I've definitely enjoyed reading these books. Very clever, very well done. Definitely a continuation of what would have happened. Basically, Thrawn is a brilliant military strategist, and he's a true leader, and that was one of his strong points. That's why he became a Grand Admiral, and now he's starting to come back because remember the Empire wants to have total control, so he's bringing the Empire back, and they're starting to take over the Republic again, or the New Republic, or the Rebellion, or however you want to say it. That's episode 7. Then we come to episode 8, which is Dark Force Rising. Tell us, without giving away too much, Joe, what can you tell us about this one?
I can't really give away too much because I don't remember this book that much. One of the things I do remember is at this point, Princess Leia is pregnant with twins. And I remember her being on Kashyyyk, the Wookiee homeworld, hiding from, I want to say it was the Empire. I believe that was in this book. She has started her Jedi training at this point.
Losing a little bit of power there, but we're okay. Right. She does more of Jedi training to be a relaxation, to get away from the stresses of being a leader. Because now she's taken over. She's actually the head lady when it comes to the New Republic. What's her name?
Mon Mothma.
Mon Mothma, I believe, steps down during this saga.
She does. I believe she does step down at one point. I'm not exactly sure when, but she did. Yeah, Mon Mothma did, I believe, take off. She left.
And this is also the introduction of Mara Jade in this saga. I think it is in this book that we meet her. If not, it's in the first one.
Right, yeah, because she's working at the time for a smuggler named Talon Card.
Right, and they're trying to get smugglers on board. They're trying to, stop all the crime and build a society again. What's interesting is that during this time, they're also at a point where they go to a planet, and this is in the first one also, or on the second one, I can't remember. But they are on a planet where basically the plants block the Force. So Luke has got to fight again, but he doesn't have the Force anymore.
Actually, it wasn't the planet. I don't mean to correct you, but I don't believe it was the planet that blocked the Force. It was these critters. I think they're called Salamiri. They could create, I think it's a 3-meter Force bubble.
Right.
But there were so many of them.
On this planet,
blocked the Force. Yes. And I want to say Grand Admiral Thrawn. He actually had one because you couldn't pull him off a tree. I think it killed him. So he actually had like a tree or something.
Right, I remember there being yes, he had one close by to keep him safe. But this is where things start to really heat up. I mean, the Empire's really starting to come back. Thrawn is taking that. And the one thing I always remember about this that I found really impressive was they constantly compared Thrawn to Vader. And one thing that happened was they were about to capture Luke. But suddenly Luke was able to fire off his photon torpedoes, and Thrawn met up with the guy who basically was responsible for letting Luke go. And instead of killing him or scolding him, he actually praised him, because had he not reacted the way he did, he would have actually destroyed part of their ship. And so he was going to give him a medal. And the second lieutenant, the guy under Thrawn, was very impressed by his leadership as opposed to the way Vader led. And it's always that comparison that gets interesting.
Well, I think someone did get killed at that point because they didn't give this guy the proper training on what to do in that moment. I think like the guy who was in front responsible for his training ended up getting killed by Thrawn's bodyguard because he's like, what's the difference between an error and a problem and a mistake, an error and a mistake.
Okay.
And one of them doesn't get corrected. So he had the guy killed and says, okay, now it's been corrected.
Now, tell me, isn't this also where Luke Skywalker gets the idea to start forming the Jedi Academy?
I'm not 100% sure because that's I believe the next trilogy, the Jedi Academy trilogy.
Right. That's where he's actually on the Jedi Academy, but I think it's here where he actually goes before the council and requests for the funds and for the permission to use the planet Yavin. Wait, not Yavin. They're on I thought that was the moon. Because remember, they're very rarely on planets in Star Wars. They're always on moons.
Right. The body of Earth that they were on, or the body of soil, was called Yavin. Whether it's a planet or a moon, we're still hazy on.
I'll have to remember my episode 4 there for that. But that brings us to the last part, which is the last command, where it all comes to a head. The battle with Thrawn, and Luke has his own little battle here. Mara Jade, when they first met, Mara Jade was supposed to kill him because that was, not to give away too much, but let's face it, that was the last command. It was of the Emperor, because Mara Jade served the Emperor as his own private Jedi assassin.
She was known as the Emperor's Hand.
Right, and so it was her job to kill Luke Skywalker. That is the last command. Whether or not that gets fulfilled in this book is something you'll have to find out. Like we said, if you haven't read it yet, you should. It was definitely worthy. And so much going on. One other thing I want to talk about was that they brought in Lando Calrissian.
Yep.
again, and he has a very interesting role in that he, once again is a businessman at a certain area, and I think they ruin his business again. It's like every time these guys show. Because one thing they talked about, Lando Calrissian is very impressive because he is always. He's always on this business venture where he's trying to become a wealthy, respectable businessman, and then these guys show up, and they pretty much ruin everything. Is that true?
Yeah, I think so. It's one of the things where, everything's going good, and then it's like, hey, Han, hey, Luke, and next thing you know,
the Empire shows up.
Yeah, and the business is gone.
The bad guy, yeah. So that's the series of 7, 8, and 9. Definitely worthy to check out. You should definitely read those books. There will be links below this thing on how to get them, and I hope you enjoy them. Have a great day, guys.
See you later.